Picture this. It's late at night, the house is quiet, you're sitting on the couch, half watching TV, completely relaxed, and then you notice your cat. She's sitting perfectly still in the middle of the room, completely frozen, staring at the corner of the ceiling. Nothing is there, no bug, no sound, no movement, just a blank wall. And yet she stares with an intensity that almost makes you uncomfortable. You laugh nervously, maybe look over your shoulder and wonder, what does she see that? You can't? Most people brush it off. They say, oh, cats are just weird and go back to their show. But here's the thing, that explanation has never really felt satisfying, has it? Because there's something about that stare. It's not random, it's not silly. Your cat is focused,
human ear,
her pupils
featuring
are
the
wide,
helix and the
her
lobe,
ears are
has
locked
limited
forward,
movement.
and something
But
deep
the
in your
cat
gut
ear,
whispers,
or pinna,
she knows
is
something you
designed
don't.
the sound
What if she
waves
does?
radiate from
Today
the
we're going
corner,
to take that
causing
moment
the cat's
seriously.
ears to
We're going
swivel
to go past
towards the source.
jokes and the ghost memes and actually look at what's happening inside your cat's mind when she freezes and stares at absolutely nothing. And I promise you, by the end of this video, you will never look at that behavior the same way again. Because what's really going on is far more fascinating than any ghost story. And there's one part of this, something we'll get to a little later, that genuinely changed how I think about the relationship between humans and cats. Stay with me, this is worth the it. Let's start with the most obvious question. Is there actually nothing there? Your answer is yes. But your cat's answer is probably no. Cats experience the world through a completely different set of senses than we do. Their hearing alone is extraordinary, and they can detect frequencies up to 64,000 hertz. For comparison, the upper limit of human hearing is around 20,000 hertz. That means your cat can hear things happening in that corner of the room
The
that are
vomeronasal
completely
organ,
invisible to
often
you.
called the Jacobson's organ,
Pipe
is
vibrating
located in the
behind
roof
wall.
of the mouth,
A mouse
connecting the
shifting
nasal
inside
passage to the
insulation.
mouth.
A small insect moving along the baseboard. To you, it's silence. To your cat, it might be a symphony of tiny sounds, all originating from that one specific spot. What most owners don't realize is that cats don't just hear louder than us. They hear differently. Each ear can rotate up to 180 degrees, independently of the other. So while your cat appears to be staring at a single point, her ears are actually triangulating, gathering sound from multiple directions, cross-referencing them, building a precise acoustic map of the room in real time. She's not zoning out, she's working, and it doesn't stop at sound. Cats also have a biological structure that most humans have never heard of. It's called the Jacobson's organ, or the vomeronasal organ, and it sits in the roof of the mouth. It's a secondary chemical sensing system, separate from the nose, specifically designed to detect chemical signals in the environment. Pheromones, hormonal traces, the chemical residue left behind by other
Cats
animals.
are expert
When a cat
hunters.
opens her mouth slightly
Even
and
when
gets a
resting,
slightly
they
glazed look
mentally
in her
rehearse
eyes,
the sequence
she's
of
not
a
being
perfect
creepy.
pounce.
She's literally tasting the air, pulling invisible information directly into this special organ and processing it in a part of the brain we don't even have an equivalent for. So when your cat stares at that empty corner, she may not just be hearing something, she may be smelling something. Something that left a trace so faint it evaporated hours ago for any nose in the world except hers. But here's where it gets really interesting. Even if we account for all of
Crouched
that,
low,
even if we
cheetah
accept
scans
that
the
cats are
horizon.
walking sensory
Its survival
supercomputers,
depends
it
on
still doesn't
constant
explain
vigilance
everything
and
about
quick
the stare.
reflexes.
Because sometimes, maybe you've noticed this yourself, the stare isn't tense or alert. It's almost dreamy. Your cat's body is soft, her tail moves slowly. She looks less like a predator tracking prey and more like someone watching a memory play out in the air in front of them. Something deeper is happening there. Scientists who study animal behavior have found that cats, like many mammals, have incredibly active imaginations. Their brains don't simply react to the external world, they simulate it, they replay it, they rehearse it. This is actually connected to how cats hunt in the wild. A cat who has hunted a particular type of prey before will sometimes enter what researchers describe as a kind of mental rehearsal state, replaying the movements, the patterns, the timing. It looks from the outside like staring at nothing, but inside the brain, there is a full sensory simulation running. Think about that for a moment. Your cat, sitting on your living room floor, maybe mentally hunting, running a full internal replay of a chase she experienced weeks ago, feeling the imagined weight of a mouse in her paws, tracking something no one else in the room can see because it only exists inside her head. That's not weird, that's remarkable, and this is where it gets interesting in a way that touches on something most cat owners never consider. Cats are often described as solitary, independent, emotionally distant. People say cats don't really need you, that they tolerate you at best, that they're not loyal the way dogs are. But if you've lived with a cat long enough, you know that doesn't feel true. And the empty corner stare is actually part of why. When a cat enters one of these hyper-focused, internally driven states, whether she's processing sounds you can't hear or running a simulation inside her own mind, she is almost always doing it in a space where she feels safe, fully safe. And for a creature that evolved as both predator and prey, safety is not a small thing. It is everything. Wild cats do not zone out in the open. They do not allow themselves moments of deep internal focus when they feel threatened. The ability to drift into that state,
this
to let
soft,
the guard
warm
down
glow
to get lost
represents
in
a
sensation or
happy memory
is a
stored
luxury.
deep within
And your
the
cat
cat's
is
heart.
spending that luxury in your home, in your presence. What most owners don't realize is that the seemingly strange, disconnected behavior, the ghost staring, the frozen focus, the dreamy gaze at nothing, is actually a sign of profound comfort. Your cat trusts the environment enough to lower her defenses completely. She trusts you enough to be vulnerable. Now, there's one more layer to this, and it's the one I promised earlier, the one that really changes things. Cats are, at their core, deeply sensitive to energy. Not in a mystical sense, in a neurological one. Their nervous systems are finely tuned to detect subtle shifts in the environment, changes in air pressure, changes in electromagnetic fields, changes in the behavior of the people around them. There is actually research suggesting that cats can sense approaching seizures in epileptic owners, detect early-stage illnesses, and respond to shifts in human emotional states before the humans themselves are even aware of them. So sometimes, not always, but sometimes, when your cat stares at a corner of the room with that particular stillness, it's worth asking yourself what's happening in that part of the house. Where was the last argument? Where do you sit when you're stressed? Where did someone cry? Cats remember, not the way we remember, and not in words and dates and stories, but in the deep sensory language of their bodies. They remember where things happened, and they continue to process those spaces long after you've moved on. Your cat might be staring at the corner where you fell apart one night, processing something that left a trace in the emotional fabric of the room, something only she was sensitive enough to notice, and only she is still paying attention to. There's something achingly tender about that when you think about it. We spend so much time trying to decode our cats, wondering if they love us, wondering if they even notice us when we're not filling their food bowl. And then, there they are, still sitting with the weight of our difficult moments long after we've forgotten them. Still listening for the things that worried us, still watching over the spaces where we were once hurt. Maybe that's what they're doing in that corner, not seeing a ghost, not hallucinating, not being mysteriously weird for the sake of cat content on the internet. Maybe they're just keeping watch. The next time your cat freezes and stares at the wall, don't scroll past it. Don't laugh it off. Sit with her for a moment. Look at where she's looking. Think about what happened in that space. Think about the sounds she might be hearing that you've already tuned out. Think about the chemical traces still floating in the air that only she can read. Think about the simulation running inside her ancient, extraordinary brain. And then look at her, really look at her, and appreciate what she is. Not a mere weird pet doing weird pet things, but a creature of extraordinary sensitivity, choosing to share her world with you, choosing to feel safe enough in your presence, to let her guard down and get lost in the private, complex, beautiful interior life she carries everywhere she goes. You don't share a language, you don't share the same senses, you don't experience the same world, even when you're sitting in the same room. And yet, somehow, across all of that difference, she chose your corner to stare at, your home to feel safe in, your presence to let her guard down around. That's not nothing, that's everything. If this made you look at your cat a little differently today, share it with someone who has a cat in their life. Someone who's ever laughed nervously at the wall staring and secretly wondered if their cat
As the
was
sound
seeing
waves
something
reach
real.
the inner ear,
Because maybe
they
she
are
was,
converted into
just
electrical
not the kind of real
signals,
we were
leading to
expecting.
sensory
And if you want
processing
to keep
in the auditory
understanding the
cortex.
secret world your cat lives in, the behaviors that seem random but never actually are, there's more waiting for you right here. Don't miss it.